All right, here we go. Welcome to episode 20 of the Roman Atwood Podcast. We got a very special, we got a superstar in the house today, guys.
Matt
Carricker in the house from Demolition Ranch, off the ranch.
And my assistant, Bill Goldberg.
Goldberg
You know,
is in the house.
I've been the man of many titles, but assistant is not one that I have ever had, nor do I ever want.
Never been an assistant.
I love you, Matt. Don't get me wrong. But,
He's like, not to you, definitely not to you.
maybe to my wife, yeah.
Speaking of wife, I got my wife here with me today, co-hosting, always here, never off the couch.
Never off the couch. I love that.
Man, thank you for being here.
No, it's an honor and a privilege, man. Like I told you off air, I didn't even check to see who you are, what you were about, what the podcast was about, because my good friend Matt asked me to do something, and I just blindly said yes. So
Also, he lives 6 minutes away, so.
then there's that.
There wasn't much inconvenience. Yeah, Matt's a solid dude. We like him. He's all right. Yeah, he's all right.
On air, we say.
I have my moments.
He did say, I have to be on the show, though. So that was a deal.
That's not true for the record.
It's not true.
Also, I also paid Goldberg 10 grand to be here, so.
Yeah, okie dokie.
Half
Should've
price.
just bought
You
him
told me
that car.
20.
No, man, it was actually in the form of sheets of plywood for my garage.
Yeah.
That's almost
That was
more.
that was 2 sheets.
Exactly. Yeah, it was 2 sheets, no doubt.
So you're coming off a huge day already. Been up all day doing Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. You know, there's a company here in town, Vospo, and it's a company that supports, you know, veteran-owned businesses, and they have a lot to do with the first responders here in Bernie, and they do tandem events, and the force up in Austin at Dell Children's Hospital today had a superhero day.
That's
and I
awesome.
was their assistant.
Hey.
No, but I mean, it's hard to explain these things.
Emotional.
It's emotional is an understatement.
I think everybody who has kids feels that way. You have kids, kids, I have kids. Like, that's the last person you would ever want to see sick is a bunch of kids.
Some of my favorite things in my whole career has been Make-A-Wish. It is phenomenal.
It's awesome. I mean, when I was at WCW, I had one every time I turn the corner, and it's never enough. I mean, the time that you can spend with these kids and make an indelible impression upon them and their lives, and maybe get them for 5 minutes to not think about what they're going through.
Yes,
that's invaluable, man. And you know, even and like Matt said, especially now that I have a 16-year-old boy, I mean, you know, you can empathize.
Yes. Yeah,
it's a tough deal. I mean, I can't lie and say that I didn't break down at the end leaving, you know, because you see these kids and you just want to stay there.
You wish you could do something more, for sure.
Yeah, showing up and signing autographs and having them see the belt. That's a simple gesture.
That's awesome. Yeah, not everybody's like that, though. That takes a good heart, man. And now you're on your second charity event of the day, the Roman Atwood Podcast.
Stop.
So thank you. I do have a big favor, though.
Anything.
This is our first mobile podcast, meaning we've never left our studio. And I hate this backdrop. I hate it. It's shiny. It's wrinkled.
They got it printed just for this.
And I would love to see you destroy it. Do you think you could take that down?
Oh, I could. I know I could take.
Can you take it down for me?
Just the problem
real
is
quick?
what I would do to like the rest of Bunker Brand.
Dude,
You gonna go home?
you know, whatever you do, I'm happy.
I really want this to happen. This thing's wreaking havoc on my viewers' eyes.
Yeah, make sure there's no one on the first floor when you throw that over.
I don't know. Can you break?
Look out below.
You break. Oh my God.
There's computers
I'm pretty
down
sure
there.
there's a lot of stuff. Well, that's
That was loud.
my
No one
man.
was hurt in the.
Took care of that.
You just helped my viewers a lot.
You ask and I shall receive.
That was perfect. Who's anybody down there?
Is anyone
Not anymore.
Anyone hurt?
Now they're covered up by
There's a dude laying down there.
by a sign.
So what we do on our show a lot, we try to inspire people. We try to give the listener hope. We try to help them find joy in their life. You know, you are very big on that. You've had a remarkable career, big career, and I would love to inspire my viewers with that career. I'd love to hear some of your past. I'd love to see where you started. I'd love to give them that. if you have fun stories.
Well, it all began back in the day. The fact is, I was born a football player. That's when you define in Webster's dictionary what a football player is. I think my picture is there, and I wear that title proudly. I'm a meathead defensive lineman. That's all I've ever known. Same. Yeah, quite obviously. But that's all I've ever known. You know, I mean, I got two older brothers who grew up and played major college football. One went into the pros for a short period of time. The other went straight into business. But I always wanted to follow in their footsteps. And let's be perfectly honest. I mean, other than Sandy Koufax and a couple other people, there haven't been many professional Jewish athletes in the forefront to be able to set an example for the little Jewish kids around the world. Who, you know, as I said, when I was growing up, I had my two older brothers, I had Sandy Koufax. There weren't many, you know, sports stars or celebrities that I could liken myself to and look up to and try to follow in their footsteps. So I kind of treaded my own way.
It's awesome.
And, you know, I mean, it all culminated that this summer I did a deal in San Diego called the Maccabi Games. And it's literally like the Jewish Olympics. I mean, it's really cool. And I spoke to these kids, and that was the culmination of my life, truly, because everything I had done, whether it was on the football field, whether it was wrestling, whether it was on the Goldbergs or whether NCIA, whatever it may be, it all led to that night.
Interesting.
And it led to me speaking to those kids. And I spoke about purpose. And I spoke straight from my heart, because when these kids would come down and I'd slap their hands, high five when they were all introduced, I saw myself in every one of them.
How long ago was this?
It was 4 months ago.
So my question for you, and I think I know the answer, were you the same giving Goldberg back in the 90s when you were a younger man, just blowing up, becoming famous? Was that your heart's goal?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I've never changed.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been that guy who wants to do something for the people who can't help themselves. And it all goes back to when my oldest brother was playing for the University of Minnesota. And my youngest older brother, who's 2 years younger than he was, wasn't playing at the time. And we flew to Wisconsin from Minneapolis, landed, watched the game, snowstorm. We couldn't fly back, so we had to drive back with the team, right? So I'm like 6 years old. I'm on the bus with the college football team. And I asked everybody for their autograph, like, I don't know, maybe 900 times. The only ones I remember are the ones that didn't give it to me.
Yeah.
Right? And so I swore at that moment in my life that I'd never make anybody feel the frickin' way that those guys made me feel.
Dang. God, that's so true.
And it is. I mean, it's driven me to be the person that I am charity-wise.
Yeah.
And truly, you know, I mean, people say things all the time for likes and for people to pat them on the back. Man, there's nothing better than putting a smile on a kid's face at a children's hospital. There's nothing better than taking the time to make them feel as though it's all about them.
Yeah,
you know?
man. The power of charity is powerful.
It's
the best
unbelievable.
feeling.
I mean, I've done so many throughout the years. The Jimmy V Foundation, you know, Joe Namath's golf tournament like 15 years in a row, and Jim Kelly's deal, and all of these things. And I've met some wonderful people throughout.
Yeah.
But we've been able to touch some kids, man, that is just something that you'll never forget.
Heck yeah. That's awesome.
So
Well, it's something they'll never forget for sure.
you
Yeah.
hope so. I mean,
which is so cool.
You never know. I mean,
Well, your example stays with them.
Well, and
You know, it teaches kids to be.
some of those kids might not know who you are, but the ones who do know who you are, like their hero just showed up. You know, the superhero just showed up to see them, which is so cool.
Yeah, man.
it's pretty neat. Man. It really is. It means I've done something right.
Yeah.
You know, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, hey, the belt holds a lot of weight, no question. And when I take that with me everywhere, you know, it's pretty much
Still rocking
the superstar. But
How long did
It
you
was-
hold that belt?
honestly, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know what I pulled some stuff up online. It was a long time.
I think at WCW, I was the world champion for a while. WWE, I don't think they ever wanted me to be the champion for more than like 10 minutes. So, although I am still in contract, sorry guys. But you know, it was a different deal. WCW and WWE were completely different entities. We were going head to head, ruthless Monday Night Wars. I mean, we had spies.
So they're both at the same time.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
Wow, I didn't know that
head
either.
to head.
Yeah.
So head to head on Monday nights, right? And we were pulling seven.
So two different channels, and they're both running.
We were
fights.
pulling sevens in the Nielsen's, and we were beating Monday Night Football. Why do you think they got? Who was the guy? Dennis, the comedian. It was years ago. They brought him on as a comedian or as a commentator to try to steal part of that audience, right? Then they ended up moving Monday Night Football.
Wow.
Different time slot.
Yeah.
We were killing them.
I didn't watch wrestling growing up as a kid, and so like when I got to know you, I like started looking at the old stuff and seeing these sold out stadiums blows my mind.
It's unbelievable. We just went to our first ever. We went to SummerSlam
In Nashville.
in
Really?
Nashville just a couple months ago, I think. First time we'd ever witnessed wrestling, and I was mind blown.
Being there live is completely different. It's cool, man.
It is a
you
different
know?
energy, and it is a different fan base. They are all in.
It's you know what? I liken the fan base to monster trucks.
yeah.
Right?
It's the same.
I mean, am I wrong?
It's the same.
I mean, it's completely the same. And they are passionate.
I told him that, so Goldberg took us to a Summer Smash in San Antonio. My whole family got us in like second row. And my kids had never watched it on TV. And I didn't know what they were going to think. And my tiny 9-year-old daughter was standing on her seat, you know, and the guy's like up there being like, what should I do? And she's like, smash him. And then she's booing the bad guys. And like, she was standing the whole time just going crazy. And I was like, this is what happens. Like, kids just love this stuff.
It's cool because it's interactive.
Yeah.
Right? Especially now.
He's looking at the audience saying, what should I do? You know, and like, they know how to get that engagement.
Exactly. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know, you want to
Which is the
make
same
every
for everything.
single person sitting in their seat feel as though they're the only one you're talking to.
It's pretty cool.
It's changed a lot. I mean, the business has changed exponentially since I broke in. I mean, it not necessarily for the best, but you know, we still have a very wide reach.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, and with social media now, it's like a different reach.
Yeah, it's they reach too far into your into your everything, but yeah, I mean, you just have to adapt with the times.
Well, I just YouTube Goldberg. Man, I was mind blown by these views. I mean, seriously, you got highlight reels that go 50 million views.
Well, say that again. I want to hear him.
That's epic.
That's pretty good. I don't have any video with 50 million views.
Come on, man.
That is epic.
Yeah, but they've been out. They've been
No.
out
We have
there
a
for.
couple.
They've been
Yeah, I don't have
posted
any.
for like 25 years, right? So
It's impressive.
No, it is impressive. And that fan base is real, man. Like you got those kids for life.
I watch it every day.
You got it on loop in the house.
Exactly.
Lupin in his bedroom.
It's got 64 TVs.
64,322,000.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not-
it's impressive. So what's Matt was talking about you getting into more racing, more cars, more.
Not getting into it. He just is into it.
Yeah, I know, but like some of the newer stuff that you're jumping into.
Yeah, I mean, this posts next week. You said it was. Something
Yeah, this will go up Wednesday the something.
Well, today, which is I don't know what today.
The
is.
13th.
12.
It's the 13th.
Nah, you're right.
I didn't want to say that.
It's
but-
his mom's birthday, so
Oh, it is.
On your mom's birthday, it's a very special day for me too because I am part of a group that just relaunched a new network, Speed Vision, and anybody who's has a little bit of gray remembers Speed Vision, and none of you probably know even what it is.
I don't have any gray.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
I'm-
You got gray all over you, but that's stress. But when I grew up, Speed Vision was the preeminent place to watch automotive content, period, end of story. Nowadays, you can find it a number of places, and it has been watered down exponentially. I mean, it's not what it used to be. A number of passionate car guys got together man named Robert Scanlon, who actually reinvented each network every time it became something else. Velocity, Motor Trend, he did the transaction. He's leading the charge. We acquired Speed Vision
Sweet.
again, and today we launched. And I am.
What does that mean? Today we launched.
Today we launched.
Where did
today,
we launch?
Today we no. Excuse me. Today we didn't launch. Today we released the fact that we are launching
Gotcha.
late fall.
Sweet.
So the Hollywood Reporter did a big exclusive this morning, and I am not only one of the investors, but I'll be some of the on-air talent. And at the end of the day, man, it's just satiating that true car guy, especially right now when internal combustion engines are probably coming to an end very quickly.
Dude, you're not kidding.
Not if I can help it.
Well, no, not
Matt's
no
gonna
shit.
save
Look at
it.
me, right? I mean, yeah, not if we can help it for sure. But the fact is that you have to, if it's going down, you have to document it properly, especially for the current generation, so that it's not. We have a problem now of trying to erase history.
Yeah, you know how many people just can't wait for our generations to be gone.
Man, you know what? That's
like the
that's
final
their
grip.
problem.
There's like these final men that are holding on to this society.
Yeah, God forbid there be men around.
God forbid there be a gas motor.
Well, here's the deal. The deal is that all these people who talk bad about us men, who are they going to hide behind when shit hits the fan? Right?
Who's gonna kill all the animals?
Can't even
for
hide
us?
behind you.
Exactly.
I don't know. That gets deep quick. Slippery slope.
Let's go. You
true.
want a podcast? Let's go.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we're living in crazy times.
Hey, can we announce what we have been talking about in secret with our possible endeavor? Because I've talked to him about it, but can you talk about it on?
Yeah, we can talk about anything.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So Roman and Cletus and I have been talking about putting an event together. And the reason I bring it up is because you talked about a very similar event, asking me to be a part of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, will you be a part of ours?
This is serendipitous.
So he talks about the other day having, and this is with Speed Vision, I guess, having a demolition derby. And I was like, we're planning to have a demolition derby. And so I was like, will you be in ours? I'll be in yours if you'll be in mine.
Maybe Speed Vision collabs.
There you go.
Comes out
Just make
and
one super demolition derby.
Big social
You're
media.
talking to one of the Speed Vision executives.
Perfect.
You know a guy.
I know a guy. I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. But yeah, man. I mean, in all honesty, I mean, it was a great investment because the passion's there and the need for the media has to be there. I mean, I'm the audience. You're the audience.
Yeah.
We need it. But also, it's quite a smart way to ensure you have programming and you're part of programming in the future. So
Where is this program going to be?
it's free television, right? So it's on all these streaming networks. We're talking to Netflix right now. We're talking to Hulu.
Got it.
Existing wise, we have contracts with, I think, 7 platforms right now. The big boys are the ones we're going after at this point. So hopefully that list is up to like 10 and it'll be subscription based. And I mean, the last time they did Velocity, the ad sales went from $10 million the first year to 150 the third year. So we've got the right guys in place.
Man,
That's awesome.
is it crazy coming from a time before all this digital stuff? Like, it sounds like you've got it on wrap, but is it wild to watch that? Because even for me, as a senior in high school, I didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
So I've seen a bit of transition, but coming from your stardom to now, it's all right here.
It's overwhelming.
It's not as controlled by the networks and the
No question.
the big guys at the top.
Yeah.
It's controlled by the people who are down on the ground doing the work, which is way different from how it was back in your when you were rising up through that.
Oh, no question.
So
I mean, so many things are different.
So are you having trouble figuring out navigating how it is now, or do you think you're just you're naturally good at being a part of that?
I think that I'm naturally good at being a part of it because I'm learning from you.
Perfect.
Right?
I learned from him.
No,
so.
but I mean, at the end of the day, you have to reinvent yourself every single day, and you have to keep up with technology, and you have to keep up with the
adapt.
times, and you have to adapt and overcome, and all these military terms and quotes and sayings that are true. And if you want to play with the big boys, you want to be one of the big boys, you have to conform.
Yeah.
And then not only do you have to conform, you have to master that space. So, you know, I can't do it alone by any stretch of the imagination, nor would I try. So, I mean, as I said, I try to learn from him. I try to learn from all my peers.
Sure.
Which
is why you're still around, whereas I'm sure there's a lot of wrestlers who started when you started who they were there for 5 years and they faded.
And there's a lot of ego involved with it. People don't like to ask for help or admit they don't know everything. Hell, I don't know anything. And, you know.
That's true.
None of us
It's
do.
true, yeah. But
Nailed it.
So every day I'm able to pick something up that I didn't know before, and it's empowering, you know. Using it is another thing, but learning it, you have to. I mean, I came in here, I didn't know how to grab a video off of YouTube because as an investor, I'm supposed to advertise and blow up social media, and I didn't know how to grab a video until your people downstairs helped me with it, right? So, I mean, I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to ask. That's all you need to do.
But you knew how to grab that backdrop.
Well, that's for sure.
Guys, gonna pause real quick. Give some love to our sponsors over at SeatGeek. Summer concerts are here and the MLB season is in full swing, and that means you can get $20 off tickets at SeatGeek with promo code Atwood, ATWOOD. If you didn't know already, SeatGeek is a ticketing app that makes buying tickets super simple. We've got the app on our phones, and it's by far the best way to buy tickets. With so many amazing concerts and live events happening right now, you're not gonna want to miss out. You can go see baseball games, Morgan Wallen, The Weeknd, and so much more. You guys know we've used SeatGeek for many years. We have been to UFC events. We have been hockey, date nights. You name it, we've done it with SeatGeek. SeatGeek wants to make sure you're getting a good deal, so when you're on the app, look for the green dots. Green means good deal. Red means bad deal. And don't worry, we've got the hookup for you. Use code Atwood for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code Atwood. Make sure to click the link in the description to download the app. And let's get back to the show. Yeah, it's crazy to see someone like yourself so successful in a different era of content to move to become successful in a digital world. It takes a lot of open and willingness. Like you said, you're jumping on this podcast, don't even know who I am. But it's that openness, willing to evolve
100%
into something you're unfamiliar with.
Yep.
That's it's so powerful.
It's powerful, but it's not really, it's not something that everyone does by any stretch of the imagination because there's so much involved with it. I don't care. I wrestled in front of millions of people in my underwear, for God's sake. How am I going to be emasculated anymore?
So how did you serious question, how did you hide that sledgehammer in them underwear?
It was tough, man. I had to fold it in half and then tuck it under someplace.
That iguana. That's what Adam Sandler called it, an iguana.
You know why I think he did that and put that in the movie? Because I bitched and moaned at him about leaving me out of that Hanukkah song for years. Right?
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Right? And I did one day on set.
Because he put every popular person in that
Yes, he did,
song.
except for me. And then he finally put me in and he gave me that part. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you, dude. I know where that's coming from. I greatly appreciate it.
What a dope part, too.
It was cool, man.
What was that like, working on those big Hollywood movies?
That was unbelievable. I'm not like the Hollywood guy by any stretch of the imagination. 10 minutes of me being on your podcast probably proves that. But I mean, I don't, man, I've been places, I've done so many things. I don't place a lot of stock in doing those big deals, but it was awesome. Anytime you get an opportunity to play in a movie that is your favorite growing up, that in itself is unbelievable. Not to mention, look at the cast.
Where'd they film The Longest Yard?
Well, Albuquerque's where they filmed most of the prison stuff because it was at one of those prisons. It was at a penitentiary that was closed down.
So was that a real one?
It was, oh yeah, it was a real one.
That's
It was
cool.
terrifying.
Really?
Really, I swear to God.
How long had it been closed down?
Not very long.
Dude,
and ironically,
renovating an abandoned prison. We could do this.
you can do this.
Let's go.
It was the prison that became famous because when the prisoners took over the prison
In real life or in the movie?
in real life, they took the prison over and they executed some of the prisoners and they were playing soccer with their heads.
Oh, boy.
Yes, that's the field we filmed the practice on The Longest Yard.
Yeah.
So it's like none of the actors wanted to be in the cells or anything like that. It was terrifying.
There's probably some dirt in them showers.
There's no doubt.
Dang.
No question. So it was there, and then Southern California, where we did the final game. But most of it was in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, New Mexico. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was truly an honor to be on set with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a
That is
cast-filled
cool.
movie.
Yeah, they had everybody in that movie.
Yeah, it was a big one, man. They had Goldberg in that movie.
That's why I watch it.
And
Nelly,
that was the coolest thing for me. And Nelly I'll tell you, you want behind the scenes? Nelly and I did
please say
all.
Nelly's awesome.
He is freaking unbelievable.
I love Nelly.
He's so cool. He's such a down-to-earth dude. I mean, I don't know. Leno told me one time, right? And he asked how a couple people treated me in Hollywood. And I told him, and he's like, well, here's the deal. He says, I treat people the way they treat their wait staff. And I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense, because they're going to treat me different than they're going to treat the normal person. And so you don't really know who they are, right? And so I had that experience with the Goldbergs, and then the dude, the father that got fired there. I got some backstory on that one, but I never shared that with anyone because it was just an uncomfortable situation, but Hollywood it's different.
Yeah.
It's really different. I mean, that's why I moved to Texas.
Moved to Texas. When did you come to Texas?
Let's see, 2 months before COVID hit. So it was we're coming up on 3 years. November the 9th. It was right after an episode of NCIS. I drove home, got home at like 2 a.m. in San Diego, and I booked 3 one-way tickets to San Antonio.
Holy.
And we left at 6 a.m.
You were committed.
Crazy.
We didn't even put our house in the market yet. We didn't do anything. We just, see ya.
So you're one of the early jumpers.
I was, oh yeah.
Now it's like
now it's
flooding.
ridiculous. Now I'm embarrassed to even drive around and say I used to live in California because they're trying to bring a little bit of it here. But fortunately, the Texans won't let it happen.
Yeah.
This is a passionate state. We live in Ohio.
Yeah.
We love coming here. We love.
We've looked at houses
We've come
so
down here with a
many
realtor, and
They were looking at houses this morning.
Yeah.
Flipping her phone, trying to find a place.
Let's go.
We constantly are fighting to not spend more time here. So we get it, and I also enjoy that the Texas people raise their Texas flag.
Yeah.
Like you don't see that a lot in Ohio. I mean, Ohio's passionate, but Texas is a different breed.
Whole nother. I grew up in Oklahoma, right? Bordering states, and Texas OU. I always wanted to go to University of Texas. I never had any animosity about Texas until I met the head coach at the time. But I love it here, man. I really do. It's just unbelievable.
It's beautiful too.
It really is. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean,
Man, the weather right now is.
the weather right now is why we're here.
Yep. Not the weather 2 months ago.
Or the weather 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Freaking 34-year snowstorm.
Right when you moved here.
Right when I moved here.
Every time we fly here, it's like the weather's like perfect.
Yeah.
It's like a sales pitch every time.
Well, you got to move here then.
Yeah,
please.
it's like literally
Make it consistent.
Other than the rain that we bring usually.
Rain's good too. We need that right now. No, not in the middle of construction.
Not middle
Yeah, you don't
construction.
want rain.
Speaking of, how's that going?
I don't want to hear anything from you, Captain Pessimistic. I'm like every day, I'm like, okay, it's getting closer. It's getting closer. And he comes to the house and he says, well, I just got to tell you, when mine was at this stage, it took 4 more years. I'm like, yeah, I wanted to kill you. Did you really say that?
Man,
I was riding
true. on
such a high.
It's true.
I don't want to hear it from
is.
you either.
It's like that in Ohio too, man. It's brutal.
I saw that.
here's the
I saw
thing.
that time lapse you put up though today. That looks like it's coming along. That looks cool.
Dude, it's jamming.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, my drop dead date as far as a date we're really shooting for is when I can move the cars in. I don't give a.
You said you were moving at least one car in pretty soon after I was there 2 weeks ago.
I did. I moved that.
You put one in?
That Jeep in there.
Oh, okay.
It's this big, so
Yeah,
you don't
that
even
barely
notice
counts.
it. Exactly, but it's there.
Yep.
So I mean, the move-in date is when I care.
Yep.
So when we get dried in, we're calling the Bernie Police Department.
Have
and
you
they're gonna
seen this yet?
trudge
You've
us
seen
in.
it on Instagram, his shop, his garage.
I don't know.
It's
Insane.
garage that it's just
The dream garage.
it's more than the dream. I don't know. I was trying to think of a word that's bigger than dream. It's crazy.
Well, if it's taken a while, it's
so cool.
It's an addictive.
And he's got a big gym upstairs. Like it's
Oh, you work out?
I have twice.
I've been trying to train him.
See, here's the deal. The deal is that my dream for the place was so that my son and his buddies could go throughout high school and get big and strong and go perform on the field. Well, he's a junior already and it's not finished. Right? So, I mean, every second it's like I'm letting my son down even more. But it's it is what it is, man. I mean, COVID quite obviously killed it. But then, trades and just timing and weather and the fact that we're on rock and you have to destroy it before you. It's a miserable process.
Texas, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to move here.
Yeah,
you
terrible.
should.
There's no dirt.
Totally didn't sell. Is this the place? Oh, man.
Oh, that's a garage.
Yeah.
Is that little thing?
God, man.
I thought my garage was cool.
Your garage is cool. Mine's just excessive.
Sweet, dude.
And that was yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm out there every single day setting cameras up. I was out there at 6 a.m. this morning.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Yeah, you got just some young buck just running cameras for you?
Dude, this guy's doing social media by himself. He's gonna.
Do it.
I get
try
that.
to do everything myself, man. It's consuming, and I miss time. I miss deadline. I mean, like I said, the network launched this morning, and I haven't even put a post out. But I like to think that what I've been doing is more important.
Awesome.
And the biggest thing for me is that the people have to hear every single thing that I say and or do described from me, because if not, they know instantly. They know it's not me. I've tried to have a couple people post for me throughout the years.
It seems hollow.
It's very hollow. Yep. It really is, and it's not. It's not.
That is
truly
a tough
engaging.
One. That is a tough one. Yeah. Like, we know Trump was tweeting those tweets. We know Biden is not tweeting those tweets.
Do you know that I tried to get fired from The Apprentice since the first day I arrived? And it took 3.5 weeks.
They just liked having you there.
I don't know about that, but it was one of the most miserable experiences.
Who else
of
was
mine.
on there with you?
Daryl Strawberry, Gooden was on there, Sharon Stone.
I like you more than all those guys. I see why they kept you around.
Yeah.
Well, at some point it's ratings too, right?
Yeah. Curtis Stone, the chef. Brett Michaels. Brett Michaels ended up winning it.
Just too good looking, man.
It wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was that he was hot at that point.
Yeah.
And it behooved them to have him win. This is all going to come back to bite me.
Hot? Like how hot?
No, I mean don't do that.
Don't do that.
In his career, he made a reemergence, man, and he was on fire at that point. Yeah. And so it was good for them.
What was old Donnie like?
He was a piece of work, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I knew that dude wasn't going to be the most popular guy in the world when I figured out that he really didn't have any social skills, like zero. Like just
when you were on the show, you figured that out?
Oh, yeah, because we'd see him every day.
Yep.
And, you go up and you shake his hand. He's a big fight fan. I'd met him years before at the UFC. And,
Yep.
But you go up and you shake his hand. He really didn't have he has no social skills. He doesn't know how to interact with a person one-on-one without putting a front up. And a lot of people are like that, right? But
I wouldn't have suspected he was like that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he seems good on camera.
Well,
now he is.
To be able to manipulate, make people like you enough to win presidency, you'd think you'd have to be good. But maybe he's just not good one-on-one, but he's great with crowds, I guess.
He was uncomfortable.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
If Biden can win, dude, I'm pretty sure. Anybody's got it, bro.
God help us.
I'm sorry, but woo!
I think if you say Biden within the boundaries of the Texas border, like people are hunting after you.
I'm in the right place to be able to say
I just drove back from Austin, for God's sake. Maybe I feel like, yeah.
I'm just personally at a point where I feel like I could go hit the streets and it would take a very long time to find someone that's like, I just love Joe Biden.
I think it would be impossible.
That's my point.
Yeah.
It's just to a point where I just can't even understand it. It's past. It's
understand it or
above,
even him.
Above my understanding, man. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's our president. That's a man. That's the man running this country.
That's my president.
That's
not
his
my president.
You voted for Biden, bro. No, you do burnouts. You didn't vote for Biden. Bro.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not driving an electric car that gets.
Not yet. You know this guy's going to be driving an electric car.
Yes, but
Oh,
you know
yeah.
why he's going to be driving it? Because it's got so much torque, and you can do a burnout for so long.
I'm gonna drive an electric car though that has like a smoke machine in the back, just so I can
Absolutely.
still pollute. When
You got to
I
have
drive.
stacks.
Yeah.
you got to have stacks.
I'm still
got
polluting.
stacks on it.
Well, the electric stuff's weird too because you see all the stuff emerging about what it takes to build that electric vehicle.
Yes, where it's like
and all the
it's not
coal
actually
and the-
not polluting.
Yeah,
It's all
crazy.
bullshit.
All
It's
the
come on.
electricity is made, or those places where it's like electricity is made in a coal factory down the road. It's like still coal.
Why is all this stuff that is bullshit
Social media.
got everybody believing it's not? I just
because
don't.
you got people pushing it on you.
Yeah.
And you got people in the government, laws and regulations now that are getting rid of internal combustion engines, right? So in California, by 2035, everyone has to have an electric car. I just want to,
That means they're not going to sell anymore, but you can still like have they're grandfathered in, I would assume.
yeah, I mean, nobody's going to come to your house and
Yeah, so they might.
See how
Come
that
and
is?
take it.
You probably get fined for driving the thing though.
Eventually.
Emissions. would
Find
be-
me. I'll do a burnout from San Diego to frickin' Bernie.
I would watch that YouTube video.
Yeah. I'll
they
do it in a
just,
second.
They'll just keep upping emissions until it's unaffordable for.
But here's the deal.
Yeah,
Here's
the
the deal.
tax.
I think that I know you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm for the environment. Who isn't?
Yeah.
What imbecilic human being wouldn't be in favor of having a healthy society, a healthy environment, and living as long as humanly possible?
Yeah.
What happens when you mine these batteries?
Yeah.
And then, excuse me, but what happens when the vehicle doesn't work anymore? What do you do? How do you dispose of those batteries?
Put it in the
anyone
river.
answer that?
You put it in the river.
Yeah, exactly. Right. What are you going to put it back where you found it? And
Yeah,
all of that process is worse for the environment than the internal combustion engine.
Well, and I haven't actually seen studies to know if it's worse or not. But either way, we know it's not good.
Exactly.
Like it's not like it's a perfect system, and it's not like it's a whole lot better than the other system if it is better. And so, why make it a law that you can't have the one that people like?
And
And not everyone's going to like it, but some people like us want it to be loud.
Well, yeah, but here's a logical question, right? You live in California and you got an electric car and you're under a rolling blackout. What's up?
Yeah.
Gas generator, bro.
You're gonna bingo, right?
Well, we're
So,
already.
and now you can in America, there is no proper infrastructure for charging. Unless you own a Tesla, you can't rapid charge. You can't rapid charge most of the electric vehicles for less than like 12 to 24 hours and get over 50%.
Yeah.
You can't do it. I got a buddy who we do our podcast, the CarCast, and he just bought a Lightning, right?
The electric Lightning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's got like a 300-mile range or something, like 200 to 300 miles. But if you tow, it goes down to 90 miles, right?
Yeah. That is crazy.
And he plugs it in for like 4 hours at a Walmart, and he gets like 6%, right? I mean,
Jeez.
none of it makes any sense to me.
Yeah.
I like that your last podcast with Dave Sparks, he was saying this new Nikolai vehicle is going to be awesome. It's coming out. And then here we're like, electric cars are the worst.
You know what? I know very little about it, but I come from a generation of a good motor.
Well, I know very little about it too. And I'm all for it if that's what you like.
Absolutely.
Just don't take away what other people like.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I think it's about conditioning the next generation, right? Like my kids are already electric, Tesla,
sure.
like they're all in. They're all
It's
in.
advertised to be
Right?
really cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Which is good.
It's got
good for that.
technology.
Like, who cares if your kids like that and they
Yeah.
want to do that? That's great.
Yeah,
Just don't outlaw the other stuff.
just don't take my Mopar away.
Yeah.
as long as they make an electric Lamborghini, my son will want one.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
They are making one, aren't they?
You don't. Yeah, everybody's making electric.
Well, they'll have to, or they'll go out.
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially when a Tesla can beat a Lamborghini. Like, yeah, you need to make an electric Lamborghini.
Absolutely.
Tesla's running 0 to 60.
I still, man, I've been following them for years, but the not the Rivian, but it's the 4-door. I mentioned it to you. They build them. They're built in Scottsdale.
remember.
Electric cars. God Almighty!
It's not a Rivian?
It's a 4-door, but it's a Lucid. Lucid Air. Check it out. It's a 4-door sedan. They come in 800, 1,000, and 1,200 horsepower.
That is super
Dang.
impressive.
And they hold 4 7-footers, right? And it's a big freaking vehicle. And they're out now.
Yeah.
And they're fast, man.
That's crazy.
They are crazy.
Now we're selling electric vehicles.
I'm in. I'm selling all my gas cars now.
If I got my hands on a Tesla truck, I would want that just for content. You know, that's going to be unique when it comes out.
True.
Right?
Yeah, you're not gonna pull.
I'll run you over in my.
Nah, it's bulletproof.
Deuce and a half.
I'll still run over.
Dude, I want to hear a little bit more about you, man. More about your. I want to give our viewers like the come up. What was it
How
like?
did you grow up?
What was it like?
In Oklahoma.
Supportive parents? Did you have?
Well, here, I'll set the stage for you. My father was an obstetrician gynecologist, and my mom was a concert violinist.
Concert violinist.
So do you think I, was really? I didn't really fit in that.
Yeah.
By no stretch of imagination, but yeah, I mean, my father was an extremely successful obstetrician gynecologist. He delivered most of my friends.
No.
And my mom was in the Chicago Philharmonic. She's a United States orchid judge. It's
Orchid judge.
I can't.
That could have been you.
Yes, I can't make this stuff up. I used to grow stuff in her greenhouse, but I don't know. I don't know if it was an orchid, but yeah, it's weird. It's really strange. But I had my grandfather was 6'7", like 340 pounds. He was huge, and so out comes me and my two brothers, and they by no means look like the typical Jewish kid walking down the street. I mean, we're all 6 foot, 230, 250, 280, whatever it is. So all I wanted to do is play football. All I wanted to do is be like my brothers,
None of them are concert violinist.
No.
Could have been.
They're in the music business.
They tried. They flunked out.
I used to play the saxophone, but when I couldn't copy the person right next to me any longer, I had to quit. It is what it is. I don't have a musical.
Like anything, you got to live it.
Yeah.
So, I got that. So when you started to find your career path, did it all just hit, or was it just a grind?
You mean the wrestling part or the football part?
Yeah, I don't actually know how you transitioned from football to wrestling. Did you get kicked off the team or did you quit?
Well, that's pretty funny because it's close. 1994, last preseason game, went to sack the quarterback, got hit from behind, tore my abdomen off of my pelvis.
Oh my gosh.
It was really gnarly.
Holy cow.
It was like really bad. And they didn't know exactly what it was. Nobody could find it, right? And I played the whole season with it sparingly.
So were your ab muscles shifted up or?
Yes. Yeah. And it was right in the spot where a hernia is.
Yeah.
Right? But it wasn't a hernia. And so I had that big knot right here. Man, it was horrible.
Could you, if you were laying on your back, could you sit up?
No, I had to roll over.
Golly.
And so the season ends, and they're sending me to doctors all around the country to try to figure it out.
And you're early 20s at this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars became expansion teams. So at the end of 94, every existing NFL team put 4 to 5 people on an expansion list to be drafted from by those 2 new teams. Well, unbeknownst to the Carolina Panthers, I had just been operated on and they picked me. So I literally became the first guy cut from the Carolina Panthers. I asked for it, but I was a small defensive lineman by all stretch of the imagination. I mean, there was I don't look like a D lineman. They're 6'1", 350 pounds usually. So I had to do everything that I could, man, to fight for a job. And every day I had to fight for a job. It's like I didn't show up one day and go, oh, well, I'm cool today. I can relax. No, every day it was tough. And so I got drafted by the Panthers. I couldn't do anything. I got operated on. They finally figured it out. I went to Duke University, and they identified it, and it was called athletic pubalgia.
Pubalgia.
It's a weird name.
It was very strange. And it's basically a hernia.
Yeah.
And so they reattached it. Carolina's obviously doing this, and I can't even walk. So I went into Dom Capers, and I'm like,
Pubalgia just means pelvic pain.
Is that true?
Yeah.
This guy's so smart.
athletic pelvic pain.
Yeah, that's like a very nondescript diagnosis.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it's different than a hernia.
Yeah.
You know, except for I guess
Maybe just complete tear is what you had, and a hernia is just a half tear, so some of your insides kind of pooch out a little bit.
I guess soccer players and hockey players, it was prevalent in those sports. Donovan McNabb was the first NFL guy to really have it. And then they dubbed it athletic pubal, whatever. And then Goldberg had it, and boom. So, an extremely long story short, I get cut from the Carolina Panthers, and I'm sitting at home in Atlanta. And I went to University of Georgia, played for the Falcons, so I lived in Atlanta. And one day my phone rang, and it was my accountant. And he goes, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing great." He goes, "You might want to get off your ass and go get a job." I'm like, "What?"
That's not a good call.
I mean, it's not like I didn't know I was making the league minimum every year. I mean, I wasn't Dion by any stretch of the imagination, making $1 million a check. So, I mean, I was struggling. So, I'm played at Georgia, I played at the Falcons. What am I going to do? Go teach people how to work out? I mean, I had a psychology degree. Well, I was 2 credits short of my psychology degree. But there's nothing I really ever wanted to do. I never aspired to do anything or be anyone other than a professional football player. Because I wanted to get to a point where people would look up to me and listen to what I had to say. Not because I wanted to be the man. It's just because I wanted to give kids hope. I wanted to give them somebody that they could look up to. I wanted to give young Jewish kids the ability to go, you know what? Screw everybody else for calling us this. Look at Goldberg.
Yeah, man.
Right?
That's awesome.
So,
do a lot of wrestlers come from a football background? I know Brock did that.
They
or is that not that
They
common?
didn't used to. It's not that common, but
Okay.
it is now. It's common because WWE literally goes out and seeks these guys.
Looks for the big dudes that look
Yeah.
like they have the look, kind of.
But think about it. We're schooled on the microphone already.
Yeah.
Right? We're used to having people in the locker room interviewing us all the time.
Yeah.
In precarious situations. So it's a natural progression. And where are you going to find better athletes than dudes who play in the NFL?
Yeah. They've been training their whole life to be as strong as they can.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what can I do?
Yeah, so football's coming to an end.
It was over.
And that was your dream.
Yeah, it was over.
We're always talking about how you never know where you're going to be. You're never going to know where you're going to end up. I always tell my viewers that. And so your dream is ending. Mm-hmm. What is that like?
No, hold on. My dream is ending, and I was rehabbing from athletic pubalgia, and I was taking a cocktail mix of oxycodone and what's the one that they give you to get off of heroin?
Suboxone?
No, methadone.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a cocktail of it was
Straight narcotics.
bingo every day. I had to take it.
Yep.
I'd go to the gym, I'd train, I'd be in the zone, and it would lobotomize me. I mean, it was a really gnarly.
Just a dull version of yourself.
Exactly. And so at that point in my life, when my dream had been taken away, I had no idea what I was going to do. I mean, I defaulted to wrestling because it was something that I'd been out in Atlanta. I was a Falcon. I went out all the time. I met all the dudes from WCW. It was based in Atlanta. I'd been friends with them for a period of time, and it seemed like a fairly natural progression. It was something that it was like walking up to a pool and not looking in before you jump, because I had no idea what it was all about. I knew some of the guys, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting into here. And so I took everything that made me the football player that I was, and I applied it to wrestling. That's all I did.
Did you struggle with pain for a long time? Was wrestling so physical?
That hasn't, ironically, It hasn't bothered me once.
Them cocktails.
Yeah, it wasn't that, but it didn't bother me. Ironically, you know, I get done playing football and I rip my abdomen, and I get it sewn up, and I pick the giant up who's 525 pounds.
You seen that video?
You know,
Yes.
This dude's huge.
So
Straight up.
I don't know how I did it, but I mean, thank God I did. But what I did was I applied everything that I learned by being a football player to the wrestling business. I took a video camera with me every day from day one, and I have these videos.
Oh, man.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I videoed myself, and I was a big MMA fan because the UFC had just started. And I knew a lot of the guys, and I actually had the largest MMA gym in North America, like in 97, in Atlanta, and a lot of the guys come and train at my gym, and I'd learn moves from them, and I'd buy all their tapes, and I'd buy everything that I could, and I'd look on YouTube for Japanese wrestling and pancrase and shoot fighting and
Ken Shamrock, shoot fighter.
Shamrock, everything, right? And so I'd take little things that I could apply in the wrestling ring that no one had ever done before that really would hurt you, and tried to do them to where they wouldn't hurt you.
Safely.
Yeah. And so I tried to basically be Mike Tyson of wrestling, right? I was 6'4", 280, and I could do a back handspring, right? I mean, it was ridiculous. And I was strong as an ox. And I had the mentality. I'm a football player. That's me, right? It's just the ability to turn it on and off. And I said, okay, the hell with it. I'm doing it. And I flew up to WWE, and I met with them first. Nobody really knows. Not many people know this. Jim Ross, who was a commentator, who was also living in Tulsa, Oklahoma when I was growing up, and he was a sports reporter, and he covered me in high school.
Wow.
Football. And he worked for WWE, and I picked up the phone and called him, and I'm like, please, just give me an introduction. I don't know what I'm doing, and I know you, please. Because he was really hot back then, too.
I wasn't
Do the
going to say
eyebrow
it.
thing.
I wasn't going to say it.
And so I went up, and it was completely foreign to me, right? I lived in Atlanta where WCW was, and it was based on all those guys. I knew them. WWE is the big 800-pound gorilla. I had to fly up to Stamford, Connecticut. You know, you're sitting outside in a waiting room of Vince's office, and as I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't call my agent. I went there without an agent. And I'm like, I don't even have an agent. I got a football agent. And so I said that out loud, and the secretary says, oh, no, Mr. McMahon does not like agents. And I'm like, okay, I need one right now. And so.
Because that means, yeah.
Exactly. So I go in there and
take advantage.
I meet with I meet with Jim Ross, and we talk, and, you know, they offer me like a training deal or something like that. And I flew back to Atlanta, and I called the owner or the president of WCW, and it was Eric Bischoff. He was the acting president on camera, and I had known him. Our paths had crossed. I'm not going to tell you how, but we had seen each other a number of times in a number of places, and
It'd be good for the title and thumbnail if we knew where.
yes,
Sure you don't remember.
no, I don't remember. No. It's a statute of limitations. And they're closed down now, so it doesn't matter. But I called him and I said, listen, here's the deal. I said, I want to do this wrestling gig. And I swear to God, I told him this, and to the word. I said, I'm not going to be one of those $500. I'm not going to be one of those $500 throw around the ring punks. I'm going to make a difference in this business. And that's just the confidence that I had. And the fact is that it's not based upon statistics or reality, or it's not based on accumulative numbers that you can quantify. It's whoever's the most popular. It's whoever is this, whoever is that. So I can make a prediction all I want, but if he doesn't want me to be the guy, I'm never going to be the guy, because it's not athletically based to where you can quantify things, right? So I just was very confident, and I saw a niche that wasn't satiated, right? I wanted to watch wrestling, but I wanted to be able to I wanted to be able to blur the line between fiction and nonfiction, right? I wanted people to tune in and go, man, I know this is wrestling, but man, Goldberg's beating the shit out of it.
That looked like it hurt.
Yeah, I gotta wonder how there's real injuries on them.
Real 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten hurt I knocked myself out on the way to the ring wrestling Undertaker. Headbutting a door.
Knocked you out.
Knocked me out. You know? But that was me at 50 trying to be Goldberg at 30.
Yeah.
And forgetting his routine and realizing his age, and wham, I headbutt doors before I go out. I have a routine. I headbutt a door, and then I'll pour water on my head, and then pull the door open.
Last door you headbutted?
It should have been, but it was, but it wasn't. I exclaimed it was. Here's an example. WWE. My relationship with WWE has never been 100% on the up and up, because I worked for a company that was competing against them in the Monday Night Wars, and I had the title, right? So I don't expect them ever to treat me like one of their own. No. I just don't. I can't remember what the point of this story was. But I've been hit in the head way too many times. Quite obviously, as you can see in real time.
Oh, I love that you forgot what you were going to say, talking about hitting your head on.
I don't have. Oh, okay, now I get it. You had back. to joggle my memory.
He's back.
Here he is.
Stephanie McMahon. And Stephanie, if you're listening to this, my contract ends in 2 months, so don't take this, don't hold this against me. Stephanie came up to me backstage one night and she said, I heard you've been headbutting the doors. I'm like, yeah, that's how I got to be me. She goes, I don't want you headbutting any more doors.
And are these fake doors, like that fall apart really easily? They're like a real door.
This is real shit.
It's not a prop door.
New. I put my head through a lot of things across the country from 94 to 97.
Oh.
And I guarantee you half of them are still there, She walks up and she says, we can't have you headbutting the door anymore. And I'm like, man, I don't know how I can be me if I don't go through my routine. So I wanted to make sure that I was following her orders. The knock on my door, wham! I punched the door and broke my hand. I never told them about it, right? So what am I going to do? Time out? No, it's freaking live television. So I punched the door. They're on the other side of the door. They don't know what's going on. I punched the door. I wear these gloves, right? And so fortunately, I grabbed my glove and pulled my hand back out. And so I could move it. And I'm like, okay, let's go to the ring. And we went to the ring, and then I the rope and I fell, right? And it was the night that Steve Austin and I met for the first time, I think, and we did a beer bash. So we do the beer bash, and I slam my beer because I'm in so much pain.
Oh.
I'm like, Steve, give me as many beers as you can. I need to take care of this pain. And then at the end, he does his thing, and he goes up to the ropes. So I go to the corner, and I grab and I fall again. I didn't go to the ground, but so that's me. That's unfortunately what happens to me. I've got really bad luck, and I'm really a brick brain. But I mean, it's worked. It's worked throughout the years.
I've got really bad luck. I just punched a door. It was unlucky.
I punched.
100 guys could have punched that door and not broke their hand.
No, but I think you hit on what has made you special for all these years, why you've continued to be on top for all these years, is you, with your, just natural gift of being a big, strong dude, could have just been a big, strong dude and you would have garnered an audience, but you wanted to be the best and you wanted to go and watch these MMA fighters and shoot fighters and try to get something that, Ken Shamrock does and put that in your show too. Yep. And you didn't have to do any of that. And that's, I know a lot of, I'm sure, we all know a lot of very successful people, and they all do that. They all go above and beyond, like, how can I be the best at this? Yeah. And like, this guy's good. I'm good at what I do, but how can I be the best at what I do? And that sounds like exactly what you did back in the day.
Well, I appreciate it greatly. And I truly, as a human being, don't understand why anyone would do something and not try to be the best at it.
Sure.
It's truly not worth doing. I tell Gage, my 16-year-old son, I'm like, listen, dude, I'm your dad. I'm a football player. I know I've got experience. I know about this recruiting. I know what you need to do to get to be the guy, but you need to tell me if you're the guy, if you want to be that guy or not.
Yeah.
Because if you want to be that guy, I'll get you there.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie to you. When you suck, I'm going to tell you suck. When a coach calls and wants to look at your film, I'm going to tell him it's not worthy of looking at and call me back in 12 months.
For sure. I've seen Gage. He's a big kid. He's looking strong for 16. But yeah, if he doesn't want to be the best, he will not be the best.
100%.
It's also the determination and the originality. There's a lot of big, tough dudes that could join.
Yeah, for sure.
But
You're right.
want to be something different. That's what stands out in every category, whether it's YouTube or wrestling, football. It's that guy that's different.
I just don't want to be a sheep by any stretch. I don't want to do anything like anybody else does.
Well, those are the guys that stand out.
Yeah.
It is. It's the guy that goes that little extra, that little originality that people cling to.
Yeah.
And while you throw me the compliment, I'm going to throw it right back at you. I haven't seen, you were the first one that did what you did on YouTube. I don't know, how can you copy anybody like that? You just had to go out and be yourself.
Sure.
And fortunately, what yourself is entertaining, and what's in your mind is entertaining because the person that you are, you always want to top what you did before.
Right.
And you don't want to copy people because it's not about doing something better than someone else did that. It's reinventing and doing something that no one's ever done.
In your own way, right?
Exactly.
Well, and that's, I met him when he was popular and I wasn't. I was coming up, but he was popular. And I took a lot of advice from him. I remember before I ever met Roman, I was sitting there going like, I wish I could just sit with that guy for an hour and just kind of pick his brain about stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we became friends, and I have learned a ton from him. And I put some of that in my videos, but I did it my own way. And I think that's what makes, you watching all the other fighters, doing it in your own way is like, you're not copying them. You're just taking, points and tidbits of what makes them special and then putting it in your own special way.
And made it my own.
Yep.
I mean, put my own little flair on it.
Yep.
I can't tell, and I enjoy it too.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoy trying to be different, and I enjoy trying to be perfect. And it's not something that anybody's ever going to be. But if you want perfection and if you strive for it, knowing you're never going to attain it, you're always going to get better every day.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about is getting better and not being the same person I was yesterday.
Yeah.
That's boring.
It's also hard for those trying to climb right now, it's very easy to want to imitate success. It's easy to try to be the guy that's successful because he's successful. But what works for them may not ever work for you.
Absolutely.
And that's the importance of being you at all times. That's where
you have to find what you're good at and accentuate it. And also at the same time, find your weaknesses and accentuate them.
Yeah.
Because, in this world of ego, nobody wants to be.
You have to admit you have weaknesses.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's not fun.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But it takes a man, and it takes a real person to be able to admit that. And that's about growing and about moving forward. I've had good people in the past, and I try to follow in their footsteps in the way that they go about things, whether it's being an obstetrician gynecologist, whether it's being a computer scientist, or whether it's being a veterinarian or being an influencer or a YouTube host. I'm taking stuff from everybody, and it's all about being a better person and having a better package together.
When you were a kid, when you're, let's say, 12 to 15, when you're like kind of figuring out who you are for the first time in your life, before you'd ever accomplished anything in your life, did you have a feeling inside you that you were someone special, that you're going to do something special someday in your life? And I guess what I'm saying is I know some people who will accomplish big things because they've always felt like that's their destiny, is to accomplish big things.
1,000,000%.
Okay.
Because I knew, and you call it whatever you want, but I knew when I was 4 years old, riding on that bus with my brothers and their football team, I knew I was going to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
I did. And by defining that and by setting that as a goal, I did what it took to get there.
Yeah.
Taking my package into consideration, whatever I had to do to make it to that point, I got lucky. It's 1,200 guys every year that make an NFL roster.
There is some luck to it, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But it was something.
I think luck. I think luck in your case is probably 5% of it. There's luck, but you also have a lot of drive.
Being in the right place at the right time too.
Yes.
You know, Hulk Hogan needed somebody to kick his ass. He needed a good guy. He turned to the bad NWO at the time, and we didn't have a giant baby face, good guy to compete against him. And I was his Huckleberry, right? And he chose me, and it was his choice to put me over in front of 45,000 people on a Monday night at the Georgia Dome, where I played for the Falcons in their first game in that stadium. I mean, it was really awesome. And people,
awesome.
A lot of people know this because I've told the story a trillion times, but some people will go, what's the best time of your wrestling career? What's the one moment that was the best time? Well, it's very simple. It was the night I beat Hogan in front of 45,000 people in Atlanta, but it's not for the reason that they think it is. It's not because I won. It's not because I was the champion. It's not because I beat Scott Hall earlier in the night and I beat Hulk Hogan that night. It was because at the end of the night, when we went off the air, the NWO handcuffed me to the corner turnbuckle and beat the living poo out of me, right? Well, you know who came to my aid? My Atlanta Falcons teammates.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And right now, when I say this, I mean, I get kind of choked up about it because that for me was like the coolest thing ever. Because I'm sitting in the corner like this and I'm just smiling and I'm going, man, my whole life I wanted to be Chris Dolman, Jesse Tuggle, Chuck Smith, Deion Sanders, a guy who's looked upon as a success in the NFL. And I was there for a short period of time, but now as I sit at the top of the world as a wrestler, my peers want to be me.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was absolutely the coolest thing I've ever experienced, short of marrying my wife and my son.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah,
That was absolutely the coolest thing ever.
That's awesome.
And like I said, for that 1 second, man, the guys I bled with and cried with and freaking tried to be every day, they wanted to be me.
Yeah.
That was freaking coolest. I could have died that day. And that was the coolest thing ever.
Epic.
But it doesn't mean that I don't value beating Hogan or anything else that happened. It just means that
Just overshadowed it, yeah.
Kind of a dream of mine. I don't know. I don't know what it says.
It was bigger than your dream.
It was. It
Yeah,
was
it's bigger than your dream.
It was really cool, man. I mean, it was really neat.
I love the fact that you conquered something you had no intentions of even doing originally.
And people resent that.
I think that's
Some people do.
amazing. That's just so obvious proof that you can do anything that you want.
I never aspired to be a professional wrestler by any stretch of the imagination, though I watched it with my grandmother growing up, Texas Championship Wrestling, ironically.
Yeah.
Right? But I never my brother, more backstories. My brothers had a house with Flair in college.
Really?
Yes, they lived together. And there was another wrestler, Ken Patera. Patera was the world's strongest man at one point. He was lifted in the Olympics, and the dude was gnarly. First guy to ever military press 500 pounds. They all had a house together. So it all kind of comes back now.
Big circle.
Oh, now I get it, right? My brother went after Ken Patera with a hatchet, and Ken Patera was one of the gnarliest dudes ever back in the day. So that shows you a little bit about the Goldberg family, right? So, it all kind of makes sense. Then I roomed with Kevin Green, God rest his soul, at the Rams, and he did the best Hulk Hogan impression, and he was the first guy to tell me to go to wrestling. First guy, dude, you got to go to wrestling. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do that. No, thank you. And then, so there was a lot of ties with the business. There were a lot of reasons why could have been the next thing for me to do, but I never aspired to do it. And I guess you guys are right. Once I back up and look at it, it was something I never aspired to do, but with my work ethic and my drive, I was able to attain a certain level of success that is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the when you hit those when your football career died, it was like your finish line was your starting line without knowing it.
Absolutely.
And it's like hitting that rock bottom. And
I was there.
Yeah, and
Yeah, because a lot of people are going to go be car salesmen or something. You're going to get an
I was
average.
going to be a trainer. What am I going to do?
You're going to get
right?
an average job, which is great. I was a veterinarian, took an average job, but you found something you liked more, and you could really push yourself at.
Well, that, and I had applied so much of my life towards building my body and being that monster guy. Yeah. Why not just throw it all over at another venue?
Keep tackling people.
Exactly. That's where the spear came from, right? I'm walking out, and Jody, the assassin #2, he was the leader of the power plant at the time. And we were working in Orlando at Universal Studio, dark matches. And it was the first dark match I had. And right before I go out, he goes, "What's your finish?" And I guess, what's that? He goes, "What do you do at the end to win?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Am I going to win?" And he goes, "Whatever you do, make it impactful." And this is before I came up with that jackhammer thing. Well, I didn't. Sarge came up with it, one of my trainers. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I get out in the ring, and I'm like, well, let's just let the instinct kick in. And I looked across the ring, and it was a dude named Manny Fernandez. And I'll never forget it. I looked at him before the bell rang, and I said,
I killed him that night.
Kinda. I said, "Manny, do you trust me?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "When the finish comes, just tuck your chin, spread your legs, and kiss your ass goodbye." He's like, "What?" And the bell rang. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I hope he's ready. And I ran him over. And I came to the back, and everybody's jaw was on the ground. And they went, "Whatever you just did, do that every time." I'm like, "That's pretty simple."
Got it.
And thank you, because that's just like me being on the football field.
Football move.
So that's kind of where that came from. And you know, like, there's a lot of people, it's weird because I was the only person who did it. And then the Monday Night Wars come, right? And then they start doing it, you know, to take away from what I was doing. Now I'm over there and people are doing it.
Yep.
And I'll just be honest. And Roman, you know, said, you know, how stupid it is to go out and hit people hard. Well, if you can hit people hard and cross and blur that line and not hurt them, I think it's pretty smart. And plus, I don't look like a, no offense, girl when I tackle people. So I talked to a kid last night. Okay, Rick Steiner's son, who's now Braun Breaker, who's the champion of Next, it's kind of like the farm. It's not the farm league. I'll get lambasted for that. But it's another segment of WWE of the new up-and-comers, basically. Well, he's me, basically. He's spearing dudes, and they wanted him to jackhammer people. And he's the son of one of my best friends. And I love this kid. And he went up and he tried to play for Baltimore. I think he walked on as was a free agent for Baltimore for the Ravens. The kid is unbelievably athletic, but he's one of the smartest kids, man. And he's knowledgeable in the business because he grew up with it. Well, I was hanging out with him and his dad when he was Gage's age. Well, now look at him, right? So he's calling me last night. We're talking about the business, and he's like, "Man, if Gage ever needs anybody to make a phone call for him, and I got a Rolodex of all the coaches," and I'm like, is this really Steiner's son, man? I mean, I remember when he was Gage's age.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's cool. It's cool how it's all cyclical and we're all taking care of each other. You got great friends and great, group. Then even through the generations, they all take care of each other. So,
yeah, that example goes a long way.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Good for you, man.
It's been an interesting ride for sure. But I mean, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's just beginning. My contract may be ending, and I'm 56 years old here in a couple of months. But man, my life has just begun. I just got here.
That was another question I was going to have for you is, like, do you feel, and do you think you'll ever feel like I did it? I accomplished it. I'm done now. Goldberg's going to take a break for the rest of his life.
I'll do that for maybe a weekend.
Yeah, you'll feel like, yeah, I'm good. And then you'll be like, nah, I got to do something again.
No, it's
like, is it, because that's how I feel. I think that's how you feel is I'm like, yeah, cool. I was a successful veterinarian. I want to be a YouTuber. Now I'm a successful YouTuber. Now I'm going to do whatever. And now I'm just like, I don't feel like I've done anything. I feel
no, but that's why you're who you are, because you always strive to be better than you were the day before. And if you're great the day before and you're who you are and you know you're going to be better the next day, just imagine the heights that you're going to rise to. Now, I can't say by any means that I want to be a professional at this or I want to be that. Whatever it is, I just want to be the friggin' best. Yeah. Period. I don't care whether it's TV executive for Speed Vision, whether it's on-air talent for Speed Vision, whether it's I can't even remember my name on NCIS. But oh God!
Hey, headbutt that door over there.
Exactly. Maybe it'll joggle some memory.
You hit one before you walked in, dude.
Yeah. No, I had to ride my motorcycle here, so I had to have my equilibrium even. It's the second time I've ridden in 5 years.
Really?
No way.
Yeah, I rode it back from the dealership after I had him pick it up from storage for the last 3 years.
Yep.
And I figured, well, I'm not going to put it back in storage. I'm just going to drive it home. So I jumped right on the 10, right? Where man, it's brutal.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
doing construction out there.
Now I remember.
Shouldn't have done that.
Exactly.
Back into storage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a 6.2 mile ride here. So every time I come here, I'm going to jump on the bike.
You got any advice for these kids growing up right now? Give them something.
Don't be a sheep.
Don't be a sheep.
Period.
I like
End of story. I mean, don't be a follower, be a leader.
And you're not saying that politically.
I'm not saying
You're saying be original.
I stay so far away from political anything, it's not even funny. I'm just saying be yourself, accentuate the positives, work on your negatives. That the biggest problem with people, and it was our generation, I don't know if it's this, but the biggest problem inherently with an individual is that they don't like to accentuate their weaknesses. That's why they're weaknesses. Right? If you accentuate your weaknesses, then you get better at it, and then it becomes a positive for you. It might be an advantage. That's something that I'm trying to teach Gage. I'm like, hey, man, I know you made great tackles, but those plays where you got your ass kicked, how about working on that? That technique, because you'll always be able to make those tackles, but that technique comes up again, and you're not going to know how to deal with it. Yeah. So sequentially mark these things off your list to where you have no negatives. There are no disadvantages to your game. I just try to live my life like that. In everything that I do, whether it's washing the dishes, I swear to God, I'm
the best dishwasher.
I'm just saying.
Go on. What is
everything I do? I try to be the best at it.
That is interesting.
I mean, it's not like
crazy.
I want to be in a dishwashing competition, but it's like I take pride in everything I do.
That's awesome.
I do. I mean, I'm from the generation that I remember as a kid. I'd walk around the house. You talk about treating people how you want to be treated and being responsible. And I used to walk around the house, and if something was on the ground, I'd pick it up solely because I couldn't bear to live with myself if my mom bent down and hurt herself or tripped or something. Pick it up. Somebody could fall on, whatever. I mean, it's just how it's a weird deal.
God, you have no issue with that.
Yeah, my kids would never do that.
But that's the generational gap thing. Yeah. It was different when I was a kid. Black and white TVs, I mean, they didn't have phones. And
what do you think about somebody that's too scared to start something because they think they might fail?
That's a cop-out. It's an absolute cop-out.
It's all mental.
It's all mental because you learn so much even if you fail. First and foremost, you can't succeed at anything unless you give it a shot.
And we have to fail, right?
Absolutely. That's where you learn.
But also, everyone has that feeling. Even the most successful person, I guarantee they had that feeling where they were like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then they said, no, I do.
Yeah.
No normal person is going to go, this is going to suck. I want to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So it's all about coming to terms with yourself and where you want to be and the chances you want to take. Yeah. And is it worth it? I live on a pluses and minuses schedule. I really do. If something on my schedule has more pluses than minuses, I'm doing it. If it's got more negatives than positives, I'm not going to do it. A big adage that I like to live by that my father used to say all the time is the path of least resistance.
Path of least resistance. Oh.
Hey, man, shortest distance between 2 points is a straight freaking line, right? And if you know something's going to create animosity or a struggle, why bring it up?
Right on.
It's a simple thing. There's so much strife in the world as it is. Why make it any worse?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just try to keep my mouth shut. When somebody asks my opinion, I'll give it to them. But I mean, I need to be poked like a bear. Because when I start speaking, then I can't stop.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good attribute. It's good.
My wife doesn't like it.
How long you been married?
16.
16 years.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's the coolest thing ever, man.
Yeah.
I got married older in life, and I think for me, and I would advise for everyone to get all that other crap out of your system. And when you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah.
And my dad got divorced twice. Yeah, he's certainly not the person relationship-wise to take after, but I'm completely the opposite. Once you make a decision, that's where I am. That's the decision for the rest of my life. Nothing jeopardizes that decision. Now things could come up, but you have to talk about it in the meantime. But
Are you career-based husband, as in I'm going to be the best husband?
oh, absolutely, 100%.
You'd have to be.
Well, yeah, and it's again one of those perfectionist things. I'm trying to be the best husband I can be. I'm trying to be the best dad I can be. Trying to be the best, town celebrity that I can be, by lending my time to as many things as humanly possible. Problem with that is you got to take time for yourself.
Sure.
And like this morning at 6:00, I'm like, you know what? I got to just chill for a little bit. I got one today. I got one Monday. I got a dinner to go to next week. I got third. It's just, you got to chill. You're not good. If people want you to be you and perform, you're not as good to them if you're not rested, and prepared, and that guy, ready to be that guy.
Yeah. How about career? How about career with family, balancing, and any issues with that?
Zero.
Just team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take jobs if they take me away from the family. I won't. I got a signing in Liverpool, in April, and I ain't going unless they fly Wanda with me.
That's cool.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
It's part of the equation.
Yeah, part of your team.
Well, yeah, and it's a built-in vacation.
Yeah.
Why not have my beautiful wife there at the same time?
Heck
so
yeah.
I mean, and not many people know this. My wife is an extremely successful stunt woman.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. Nobody knows that.
You guys wrestle, huh? You guys wrestle.
What a devious look you just gave me.
You guys wrestle.
No, she's about 105, so it's a little unfair, but she's a wiry little one. But I mean, dude, she used to do stuff I wouldn't even consider doing.
Really?
And talking about putting family before career, I told her to stop doing stunts because I wanted our son, to have a mom.
Yeah.
Because literally this girl, she did a stunt, and I think I told you this one time. She did a stunt from a moving train. It's going like 30. And she jumped from a moving train to an oncoming train.
Jeez.
Oh, no way.
And they said,
Doubling the speed.
yeah, they said, so if you hit it perfect, you're going to break your ribs. You're going to do this. If you don't, you're going to die.
Is this for a movie?
Yeah, for a movie. And she used to do that stuff all the time. The first stunt she ever did, she took a bike off a 90-foot waterfall. She wasn't even a stunt woman.
Jeez.
She drove a horse. She rode a horse on set for a commercial. And the stunt guy was being spoken to by the producer, and the producer says, hey, is that your assistant? Does she do stunts? He's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Anything with a horse she can do. That was her first day.
No way.
And then the guy said she was a dead ringer for the lead character. And so she doubled the character, and she made more. She worked for Mode Modeling Agency. She did all of the advertising for a 92 chain restaurant up in Canada. She'd fly to Toronto once a week, to business meetings for the marketing department. And then she was a stunt woman, right? And I made her quit stunts because it's just so dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then look what I do.
Yeah.
I spear. We're in Saudi
made in
Arabia.
heaven.
Yeah, I spear Brock Lesnar through the barrier in Saudi Arabia, and she and Gage are on the front row. And I literally thought I ripped my ear off when I hit him, because I hit the metal of the barrier with my ear, and I hit him, and she's like about where he is. And she's terrified. She thought I broke my whatever. I don't know. She thought my ear was gone, and she had the worst look on her face.
Ugh.
And I'm like, man, now you know how I feel. You did the stunt
Jumping
thing.
off a train.
Mine's predetermined. It's going to happen. So I mean, it's I've killed her career, but I did it out of love.
Yeah.
And I if anything ever happened to that woman, I'd die, man.
Aw. And how'd you guys meet?
Oh, that's even funnier. You want me to tell you the whole story? Or
Let's
just
go,
part
man.
of it?
Let's go. You tell us.
I was contracted to do a movie called Santa's Sleigh. And you picture a Jewish killer Santa Claus. It's freaking epic, isn't it? Right? So I flew up 3 weeks early to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where we were shooting with my assistant. And there was a strip club scene. And they needed 49 strippers. It was our duty to go find them. So after a 3-week period of time, we had 49. We come to the day where we're rehearsing the scene. I come in as Santa Claus. I killed 2 guys at the door, and the bartender is chasing me with an axe. And then I jump on a table, and I jump from another table to a swing. Stunt woman sitting on the swing. But before we went through the rehearsal, there's 49 girls walking around naked on set. At that point, I was like numb to it. But there was a girl in the corner wearing a blue robe, a light blue robe. And I'm like, well, something's different here. And so
There's clothing.
There's clothing. What's up with that? And so I had Josh, my assistant, go and see what it was. He comes back and he goes, man, that's the stunt girl. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So we go to the scene and we're rehearsing the scene. And quite obviously, if you do the logistics, I'm hanging from a swing and she's sitting on it. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm literally like this. And it was the most uncomfortable time because if I look up at her face, I'm looking right up her skirt. Like literally.
They're like, Goldberg, you need to pick your head up.
Yeah. And I'm Santa Claus. And all of a sudden she taps me on the shoulder. I'm like, yeah, how you doing? And she's like, are you okay down there? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And she goes, usually before a guy sticks his head between my legs, he buys me a beer first. I love you. You're awesome. Within 5 minutes, I asked her to dinner. And as Santa Claus, she's not going to say no. But the backstory, which is funnier than anything I could ever say, was that she only did the movie because she thought she was doing it with Jeff Goldblum. And she shows up on set
He
and
was
she
supposed
goes,
to be Santa Claus?
no,
Oh.
She shows up on set and she goes, so where's Jeff Goldblum? And they went, Goldblum? You mean Goldberg?
That's
and she
funny.
goose, who the hell is that?
Oh my God.
And they said some wrestler
It's your future husband.
guy. And she goes, you mean that fake shit? And I didn't have a chance, right? But I was Santa Claus. And so she couldn't say no to Santa Claus. And she had no idea who I was, so she didn't know what I looked like. I had maybe 5% body fat at like 290 right then. I had veins coming out of my ears, and I was in the best shape of my life. And she comes to the trailer afterwards, and I open up the door. I'm wearing a tank top and like running. I was shredded. And she's like, bonus. Okay, let's go to dinner. So this great steak joint had been taking care of us, for 3 weeks that my assistant and I were there. So I'm like, hey, there's this killer steak place, and they've been taking unbelievable care of us, right? So she meets me there. I arrive. She's sitting at the bar. Grab her. We go to the table. They sit us down. Wonderful dinner. No check. The manager comes and he says, Mr. Goldberg, is everything good? And, can I do anything for you? I said, just bring the check. Everything was wonderful. And he goes, oh, no, Wanda doesn't pay. She freaking set me up because that's the 92 chain restaurant that she did the marketing for. Oh. So they thought she was spying on her. So the thing that I thought was happening in that they were taking terrific care of me was not because of me. It was because of her.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So that shows the sense of humor my wife has. So, and the rest is history.
Well, I know what movie we're
awesome.
watching tonight.
Let's go.
No, you're not.
Hey, is that the sleigh you have?
Yes.
He still has that
Yeah,
sleigh.
I got the sleigh. It's going up in the garage. I'm going to suspend it from the second floor.
And you guys still have the swing, obviously.
Oh no. Oh no. But we do have the sleigh, which is cool.
That is cool.
The producer. It was his first movie. He kept it. He lived in LA. They ended up selling his house. He called Wanda, and she had my car guy go up with a trailer and pick it up and drive it through LA traffic on the back of a flatbed. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know it was there. For 2 months, she had it stored up at our neighbor's house, and she restored it.
Oh, wow.
And then Christmas, Hanukkah, she presented it to me.
That's awesome, man.
It was really neat.
It's cool. 16 years later.
Yeah, it was cool. And and going into the longest yard, she'd worked with Bert for years. And so I walk up to Bert. I'd never met him before. We had the same agent, but I'd never met him. And I walk up and introduce myself, and he goes, "Goldberg, I respect you. I've respected you forever, but now I really respect you because you're marrying Brown Eyes." I'm like, Brown Eyes? Okay, Wanda. So yeah, he'd worked with her a long time, and he knew her before I never met him. And she left a very good impression upon him, and then we got to be friends, and
super cool.
The rest is history.
Yeah, man.
That's so cool.
It's awesome.
I could talk forever. I'm sorry.
No, man. I love it, man. A little funny, a little inspiring. I love it. If you don't have anything else, we'll wrap it up. It's been great.
There was one more thing. Brittany, did you have a question?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, there was something you had asked us if you should ask him.
Well, here we go. Go ahead. You can ask me anything you want. I don't care.
I can ask you anything?
Anything.
So I've been told this, but
By
I'm going to
him?
ask you. Yeah.
No, sir.
If it was by him, I know it has ill intent.
So is it true
No.
that steroids make your pee-pee small?
Oh, how would I know? I have no idea.
Good answer.
That will have to be continued, because I'll have to look that up in a dictionary or a thesaurus or yeah, I don't know. Encyclopedia. Do they have those anymore?
Webster.
Probably not.
Webster.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just Google.
Don't know. According to that doctor.
Matt does it?
Yes.
Well, hey, check this out. If it was related to me in any way, shape, or form, I wouldn't have been in the iguana, right?
That's right. That's
According
true.
to that
That's
documentary,
true.
The
That
Longest Yard.
documentary we saw.
Right.
Yeah, no, Roman, talking about you saying you could talk forever, Roman was asking, he's like, is he pretty? I was like, Goldberg will talk all day. You don't have to worry about Goldberg. This guy is a storyteller, like all the way through.
Love it. Well, I know there's a million great stories that we couldn't touch on, but thank you for being here.
My
Seriously.
pleasure, man. And it's not like your podcast is ending. You could have me on again sometime when you guys move to Texas.
There you go.
man.
Ah.
And then I can have you on my podcast at the new sound room at Goldberg's
He
Garage
showed
There
me
we
his
go.
studio
in 4 years when it's finished.
4 to 10 years.
Shit, now the 10 years.
Well, you're building a castle. It takes time.
It does, but it's an open structure, man.
Yeah,
It
cool.
doesn't take that much freaking time.
Yeah. It's hard to get people to work right now,
Almost
man.
done.
Thanks so much.
Close. It's
Thank
my
you
pleasure.
guys for listening, for watching, for joining the podcast, supporting, and you're beautiful. You're one of a kind. Smile more.
Boom!
There we go. Thanks, man.
My pleasure, man.
Real. That was
My pleasure.
just so awesome of you.
And it's all about continuing to learn, because I learn from him all the time. Now I know who you are and I know what you do. I can learn from you. I mean, it's all good, man. We keep it all in the family.